Hello and welcome to the Team Meta College Conference Spring Showdown. Orange corner as red. Oh my goodness, watching it as it
being like a void space for community building.
Now you can see these freshmen and sophomores that have not had that interaction at all. They're completely online because of COVID.
He said, "Go! Oh my gosh, Osaka!"
All right, welcome back to the show, Age of Coronavirus College Edition. We're here talking with Alex Cuttadine. He is the Faculty Media Depot at University of Kentucky. So tell us more about that, Alex.
Yeah, so I've been fortunate to be involved with our esports initiatives at UK. We really prior to this kind of age of coronavirus, we were already starting our esports initiatives, which involved creating academic programs and launching community outreach programs as well, in addition to building a 23,000 square foot esports facility on campus. In the midst of that, we kind of entered into this pandemic and all of a sudden had lockdowns, which really disrupted what we do or what we were planning to do. But I got to be involved with a lot of the esports planning, especially with the online delivery and streaming. And we've really utilized resources from across campus. And somebody reached out to me and knew I had some experience in gaming and streaming. And so I've been able to get involved kind of on a lot of different levels at UK because of that.
Man, it hurts my heart to hear that you had just put up that 20,000 square foot facility and then couldn't use it.
Yeah, and it was, we were planning, probably we started kind of isolation in March or April. We had planned that was 2020, we had planned to launch the facility in August that year. So we were not only kind of delayed with our plans as a university, but also things like infrastructure and construction was delayed. We were able to do kind of a soft launch in the fall, but we really had to change how we were planning to engage with our community, what those programs looked like as we were planning academic programs, both as a university and as all of these community events we were trying to plan. We very quickly had to make a shift online, which is really natural for me because the focus of what I do day to day in supporting instructors is in online course delivery. And so that was kind of a natural progression for us. And we certainly would have liked to do more in person at the start, but we had a really great opportunity that we saw to engage with our community online in a medium that is really kind of naturally online and already has a lot of those elements to facilitate that.
What gets the inner workings of the esports facility going? Like, how much process do you put into something like that? I mean, how many moving parts is there?
There are many moving parts because it's actually it came out of an initiative that was really started by the president. He started a committee or tasked some people with investigating how to really implement esports at a university. And we had some individuals from administration touring facilities around the country. And one of the things they discovered very quickly is that if you really want to have an esports initiative kind of on the scale that we wanted to, you had to have a dedicated facility. And so they looked at places like the Luxor and at other universities that had dedicated esports facilities. And so they had a structure in mind of what that could look like at UK. And around the same time period, we were expanding one of our parking garages. And as part of that, we were able to dedicate the bottom level of that to a esports facility. And it came about as structured as a private, public-private partnership. So we're partnered with a group who's managing some retail and restaurant space. And of that 23,000 square feet, we have about 13,000 square feet that's actually dedicated to gaming, and it's actually called an innovation space. But we have a gamer lounge and a theater space, as well as kind of a multi-purpose space. And to really get that all up and running, it involved coordination with many groups to get the construction going, to get the infrastructure in place. But then once all of the physical elements are in place, you have to have things like marketing to let people know about it, and you have to you need to maintain those spaces as well as
Mm-hmm.
plan uh, for all the equipment you need to actualize what you want to achieve, things like live streaming and potentially having conferences out of this space. So it really is the esports initiative as a whole has its own team members that have all come together, a large group of people that have come together to help actualize all of that. But just talking about the facility in itself, there's a whole team. Some of those people cross over, but there really is a whole team just dedicated to get that facility up and running. And it's a monumental task. We're still day to day. We're working through. We have a physical space, but we're still working through those details as we want to get it in as good of a spot to where it's going to be kind of a premier esports facility in this region.
Yeah, I mean it's a big production.
Yeah, and for on my side, I'm actually involved with part of that production element. So um, I have a history of live production, some of which in the sports world. I've also been fortunate to be involved with live streaming for the past about 20 years. I got involved with it in horse racing and sales, if you can believe that.
Oh,
But
interesting.
through that experience with streaming and production, and also my experience with gaming and live streaming of gaming, I've been able to help contribute with the planning of the production facilities. So we really are looking at having a multi-camera production facility where we can take up to a 6v6 competition with camera overlays and game capture. We have a eCaster booth, and all of that will be able to be switched live out of our switching computer, all of which we're working on implementing right now. So a lot of planning. I'm involved in just that aspect of it, and definitely a lot of planning going into just that production element part of it. So yeah, it's a big task, but it's one that I really enjoy, and I can't wait until we have it implemented.
You kind of started at the beginning of this esports initiative at the University of Kentucky. Did it take some convincing?
The coolest part about this is the esports initiative really started from the top down, and when I say the top, I mean the top. It was the president of the university spoke with the head of our IT and tasked them with
Mm.
investigating what esports at a university could look like. And it was the president um, had seen a presentation about kind of the opportunities um, with using esports as a community engagement tool, as a recruitment resource, and uh, he just wanted people to see what that could look like at UK. And we pretty much had the go ahead at that point to start building our plan. And so having that support has been very beneficial. And the community response we've gotten has been fantastic. And so far, we're achieving all of the goals we've set out for ourselves. But certainly, we have much more we're looking forward to in the future, especially as we are hopeful to open up the space to more people. We've kind of done a soft open at this point, but
Hmm.
um, we want to open up our physical space to more tournaments, more community engagement, things like high school tournaments we would love to have at the space as well.
Oh
So
yeah.
that community element is a big part of it. But we also have support from the provost with academic programs. So it's not just that we are creating a place for people to play video games. We really want a structure for academic development, professional development, as well as that community element, so that we can create this pathway for students to learn about gaming and esports, and then to engage with the community and then turn it into a career.
What games are you currently got going on in this program?
So we have pretty much all of the top titles: League of Legends, Fortnite, Call of Duty, um, we are trying to implement more games at our esports facility, and basically, if we have enough community interest, we will, within reason, we'll put the games on our esports lounge computers. In terms of overall game involvement with our program as a whole, it's really whatever is going to help facilitate, whether it's an academic program, whether it's a community based
Mhm.
program, where the interest is and what's going to help facilitate those goals. We're really open to just about any game.
What does the program look like in the next 2 to 3 years from now? Have you guys been planning that?
So some of our more longer term goals are really engaging more with international students and programs. There's a definite, especially if you look at Asia, there's a huge online esports and esports player component there that we'd love to tap into, and we'd love to attract those types of students to our program. We also are interested in expanding that career development aspect as well, working with partners to create more internships, getting people
Mhm.
potentially hooked up with those game publishers and industry professionals who can help people either with jobs or to help develop them to get jobs in the industry. And then we're also looking at having conferences, being able to leverage our facilities and our position to create conferences where we can bring in industry professionals and experts in the field, to both inform and educate our community as well as help them to reach those uh, career paths and give them those networking opportunities.
The future just seems very bright for esports, in my opinion. The more colleges accept that this could be the future for a lot of programs.
We are seeing a greater adoption across all schools. And when an institution is not taking the initiative, we see the communities taking that initiative. And in some ways, that happened at UK as well, where we had
Mhm.
an existing esports club, a vibrant club competing in many different game types, and that was we partner with them to expand this initiative. But when you're not taking those initiatives on your own as an institution, your community will build that out, and being able to organize that and give them the support and also help facilitate those communities is a big goal for us, and I think it should be a goal for any larger institution, as you see gaming and competitive gaming as being a very large interest, and it's going to be there whether the institution takes an initiative or not.
Yeah, it's self-perpetuating, I think. It kind of manifests itself because it has the support. Alex, tell us how you got involved in media production. And you've been at University of Kentucky for about, what is it, 7 years, or
Yeah,
maybe 8, 9 years?
I've been at the University of Kentucky about 7.5 years at this point. I actually started in. I've always been a big fan of both media and we'll say artwork and technology, going back to the we'll say the mid '90s, where I was building my own computers, and I also loved drawing, and I got a scanner early on and started doing digital artwork, and that very quickly turned into work, because there weren't a lot of people working in especially art and technology at the time. And so as a teenager, I was able to pick up kind of odd jobs scanning photos and doing things, burning CDs, stuff of that nature. And I lucked out. My sister was a media major, and she was working at a local horse racing track called Keeneland, and one year they were about to run their spring meet, and my sister said, "Hey, we need camera operators. Would you like to come and run camera?" And I said, "Sure." And when I got there, they said, "Actually, would you like to run graphics?" So I ended up running the Chiron graphics, loading in graphics templates, replacing text in graphics, and then basically queuing that up for the director to take live on air. And through that, I was then put in touch with a company that did live streaming that was beginning to do live streaming of horse racing and sales, which wasn't really a thing at the time. We got to go to many horse racing tracks and facilities around the country, taking video feeds, doing live streams, and then building web pages around that. So I got exposed very early to the live streaming aspect of it, and I've been able to see that evolve and take part in live streaming throughout that time. Kind of ironically, sometimes I would be kind of monitoring a stream, playing a game beside it, and I never kind of put two and two together and said, "Hey, maybe I could stream the game." I never really saw people being interested in live video game streaming, but
Mm-hmm.
today it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. But kind of going forward a little bit more, I got a job having my experience with the horse racing industry. I got a job with Blood Horse Publications, which was a magazine. And kind of in that time period, and even today, we're seeing this transition from traditional media into online media. So I had experience with online delivery of content, art, creating art and media, as well as media production at this point. And so throughout school, I worked kind of those other jobs, which kind of prepared me for my first full time job at initially working with a photo archive, but very quickly after that, they saw the necessity for media production. And so through that, we created a series of online shows. We also did live event production, both live and on-site archived event production for high-profile races like the Kentucky Derby and the Breeders' Cup
Mm-hmm.
World Championships. And so we really created a media component for this magazine that otherwise didn't exist. And starting in 2013, I got the job with the University of Kentucky, initially to do media support. But then they asked if I could write up plans for a facility. And so I designed some plans for a space that we already had that included a small video studio and audio studio, and implemented a kind of a workflow that was largely geared towards lecture recording. So we could get somebody in, we kind of do live to tape, if you will, live recordings of lectures that we can then basically we switch via something like Wirecast. It's Wirecast. It's like something like Streamlabs or OBS, where we can add transitions, and we can incorporate overlays and different elements. And then when the instructor leaves, they basically have a piece of content that's highly produced but ready to publish. And so I've been working on that media support side of things at the university for the past 7 years. But as time's gone on, I've expanded my roles and have been really fortunate to get involved with the esports side of things, kind of with that media and streaming and game enthusiasm kind of as a basis for all of that.
You said you designed the building. Did you actually, because you have a background in graphic design, so did you draw it up?
So we had, with the Faculty Media Depot, we had a physical space that was already existed. And then I basically designed the layouts of the studios, the interior design for workspaces and office spaces, and then how all of that fit together with the technology.
Well, Alex, we're going to have to wrap it up, but I really do appreciate you coming on board and telling us more about, because I think that the media production side, people don't really talk about it that much. They talk about more of the sports side of it, but it's really cool to see the inner workings of that and seeing how people get that facility together.
And if there's just one thing that I always tell I tell our students this, and I tell anybody looking to enter the workforce, is that media production is essential to almost any job these days. Everybody wants to have a social media presence, and even if you are learning how to do it through streaming online gaming, if you can bring that skill to an employer, can show them how to do high quality audiovisual productions and bring that to people through social media, whether live or archived. That's a skill that's very valuable to employers these days.